Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into something that I think is just incredibly cool, the science behind predicting your absolute peak mental performance.
So let's start with the feeling I'm sure you know. Have you ever been so deep into a task that the rest of the world just fades away? Time kind of melts, everything just clicks into place, and your focus is, well, it's just effortless. That's the feeling. That's the zone we're talking about today.
But here's the big question. What if that state of perfect flow? What if it wasn't just some random lucky thing that happens? What if science could actually get its hands on it, measure it, and maybe, just maybe, predict when it's about to happen? That's the wild idea we're digging into. All right, so first things first, let's take this in the zone feeling and see what it actually looks like through a scientific lens. Okay, so scientists call this integration efficiency. And this isn't some fuzzy, abstract idea. No, this is something you can actually measure. We're talking about tangible things like faster reaction times, making fewer mistakes, and having higher confidence in your decisions. It's the real, physical, measurable outcome of being in that peak performance state. So, if we can measure it, the next logical question is, can we predict it? Well, there's a brand new scientific model that's trying to do exactly that. And here it is. It's called seam-gated integration, or SGI for short. Now, the core idea here is really powerful. Think of your body and your brain as having a whole series of gates. SGI is basically a framework for measuring how well all of those different biological gates are lined up. And this is the key to that whole gates idea. Imagine information trying to get from point A to point B through a series of checkpoints. If all those gates are wide open and perfectly aligned, that information just zips right through. It's smooth, it's fast, and it's effortless. That's you in the zone. But if the gates are out of sync, things get bottlenecked. SGI wants to figure out the exact moment everything is perfectly aligned. So, what are these gates in the real world? I mean, how do you actually measure them? To make this whole thing practical, researchers came up with a simplified version they call SGI Lite, and it zeroes in on 4 key signals you can track. Let's break these down because this is where it gets really interesting. First, you've got the brain's alertness signal. And get this, they measure it by watching your pupils dilate. Yep. Second is what they call the skin gate. It's this combined signal from your skin, measuring things like sweat, your temperature, and even teeny tiny micro vibrations. Third is the timing signal. This is all about rhythm. How well is your own internal beat synced up with the rhythm of whatever you're doing? And finally, there's the relevant signal, which is pretty simple. How much do you actually care about the task? It has to be engaging and important to you for the gates to open. But here's the thing. Those 4 signals, that's just the beginning. That's just the starter pack. They're part of a much, much bigger vision for a single, unified theory of how our bodies and brains perform together. I mean, just look at this list. The full SGI model it's incredibly ambitious. The goal is to measure pretty much everything. We're talking about signals from your gut microbiome, that famous gut-brain connection, how your immune system anticipates things. It even tries to factor in these really subtle environmental cues, like tiny changes in magnetic fields, or even the amount of new chemicals in the air, like pollen. The idea is to create this complete, holistic picture of literally everything that impacts your state of mind. And this quote from the research paper just nails it. The ultimate goal isn't just a big checklist of factors. It's to create a single operational equation. One formula that can explain the exact moment your entire system, your senses, your body, your brain, all snap together to close a pattern and achieve that state of pure, effortless flow. Okay, so this all sounds absolutely incredible, almost like science fiction, right? But how do you actually go about proving it works? Well, that's exactly what scientists are trying to do right now. They're trying to engineer peak performance in the lab. And they're starting with something called the SGI Minimal Pilot Study. You got to start somewhere, right? This is that first absolutely crucial step to see if this whole amazing model actually works in the real world. The experiment itself is so simple, it's brilliant. On one side, you have the control group. They get tasks at totally random times. That's your baseline. But on the other side, they use the pupil measurements to watch that brain alertness gate. And they present the task at the exact millisecond the pupil shows the brain is at its most receptive. And the prediction? A 15% or more improvement in reaction time. I mean, that is a massive performance boost, all without losing any accuracy. So what this really all means is that SGI isn't just a cool theory anymore. It's a real testable path to actually enhancing human focus.
Just think for a second about what that could mean for learning, for complex jobs, for athletes, for anyone who needs to be at their best. This could be a total game changer. And so, that leaves us with this one last really big question to think about. If we can truly learn to engineer these moments of peak performance whenever we want, what should we point that incredible focus towards? What problems could we solve? What could we build? What could we create? It's a pretty powerful thought. Thanks for joining me for this one.